So I so in this PowerPoint, I won't go through the entire PowerPoint, but I'll just hit on some of the main points, and why electric fencing is really adds to the toolkit for keeping livestock like chickens and gardens and compost and fruit trees safe. Just how versatile a tool it is and how it works. Got a cool video of a bear at a chicken coop, shows how effective it is. And then some local examples of different types of electric fencing configurations. And I'll carry on. So we're right in the midst of a really intense bear season this year. The reports are coming in daily from various parts of the community. There's 4 different bears active in town. 3 of them are food conditioned, and meaning that they have gotten into everything shown in this slide, all of those kinds of non-natural attractants have been hit in Tofino in the last couple of weeks, and also in Euclid. So we've got a long ways to go to get out the other side of the bear season. But in particular this year, for some reason, there's 2 particular bears that have really been targeting chickens. And we're used to being worried about the safety of chickens when there's cougar in the area. But this year, the big concern, and it's been shown in a number of cases, are bears. So if you just look at all these yellow dots, those are all places where bears have broken into chicken coops in Tofino. And there's also been 3 other situations where bears were either chasing chickens that were free roaming, or also broken into or trying to break into coops. So that's and this is an example of a coop that has the components to keep out rats and raccoons quite effectively. But in this case, and in all of the coops that were broken into, what the bears do is they will spend even a considerable amount of time trying to figure out where the weakness is in even a quite a sturdy chicken coop. So in this one, the hardware cloth's buried in the ground. It's attached a completely enclosed tunnel with solid wood frame and the wooden coop at the back. But the bear found where he could basically rip the hardware cloth away from where it was affixed to the wood, and came back repeatedly. So in this case, they lost several chickens, and I think they had 3 different visits, 2 different bears. And here's a really skookum fence with 8-foot-high posts, closely spaced together with chain link fencing, very sturdy fence. And the bear, because it wasn't electric fenced, the bear just simply climbed over it. I have access to quite a considerable amount of instructional and educational information on electric fencing, excuse me, with some specific content around electric fencing for chicken coops that I can share with people. And here's sort of an ideal structure that where there was careful consideration right from before they got their chickens to how they were going to protect their chickens and keep their operations safe. So right from the start, they designed this with the idea of installing electric fencing on it. It's also a very sturdy structure with hardware cloth on the inside, buried deep in the ground to prevent those small predators, and then insulators screwed into those sturdy upright posts to and multiple wires. So to really create a very strong protective shield around those chickens. And the roofing is another sort of can be a potential weakness. And having a roof over it protects the chickens from the elements, but also prevents access from predators like cougar potentially jumping over a fence. In terms of effectiveness, this is sort of quite a compelling set of stats. So this is someone that WildSafeBC works with quite a bit, and she has personally installed 430 plus electric fences in the Kootenay region, and it's primarily to deter grizzly bears from accessing orchards and chickens and other livestock. And 5% of the fences have been actually breached by bears, but in all of those cases, it was the result of poor fence maintenance, which is important. You need to maintain it properly, or poor or improper insulation with too few wires and inadequate grounding. So too few wires and inadequate grounding are the two most common sources of problems with electric fencing. So I'm hoping this will play. I don't know if you could see that spark where it arced from the wire to the nose. And this is that same sow and cubs now staying a healthy distance away from that electric fence. They're looking at it, but they're not going any closer. And just so there's two or a couple of different reasons that it works so well for bears. And one is, just as the video shows, they tend to test things with their noses. And what this diagram shows is basically when you have your electric fence set up, there's electricity in the wires, there's electricity in the ground, and when a bear puts his nose on the wire, it completes the circuit. So it's like turning on your light switch at home. So putting that switch on completes the circuit, and the electricity flows through the nose of the bear and through his feet into the ground and completes that circuit. It's very unpleasant. It doesn't hurt the bear, just as it doesn't hurt us if we accidentally brush up or grab a wire. And but it's an experience they don't want to have again. And so that psychological deterrent, you could see the hesitancy of the bears when they came through after being shocked. And it's it seems that they're able to sense that electrical field. Once they know what it is, they can sense it in the future. So they may come close, but typically one shock is all it takes, and the bear learns that very effectively. And electric fencing, once it's in, it's fairly simple to maintain. And so it's a one-time cost that over time, it's really cost effective. And as Leah, as you mentioned, it provides that peace of mind, which is another important aspect of all of this. So just a few local examples. This was a chicken coop that the bear came back 2 nights in a row and grabbed chickens both nights. It's quite elaborate setup that they had there, that the bear figured out where the weakness was, basically digging underneath. So we showed up, and this is called electric netting, and set that up around the whole thing. And the nice thing is when they move this, they could just take the electric netting and reconfigure it around the new location of the coop. And that was the end of their problems. So this is another example of the electric netting. And they started out with one length of netting, and then they wanted to have a larger area where the bear or where the chickens could forage. So it's very easy to add an additional section just to increase the area that you're enclosing. And actually, like an hour after they finished adding in the new section, a bear went through here and checked out the fence and kept on going. Here's your installation, Leah. And this shows how you can have a gate like this on your coop. And this is another example of using an existing sturdy, well-protected structure with hardware cloth, as you described, Leah, and then just adding the electric fencing on the outside and adding in a gate. So these are insulated handles, so you can undo them without being shocked. Or as in Leah's case, this is a master switch. Again, sort of like a light switch that you can just put up or down and to turn the whole system on or off. And this is a recent addition to an existing fencing. So the fencing previously ended right at this corner. And the thinking was that all of this was pretty heavy duty construction, and the bear came where the plywood is here, just peeled off the hardware cloth. And so now we added on, extended the electric fencing right around the whole wooden structure. So the whole fence, or the whole installation. And so part of this actually goes through the forest where the chickens forage as well. And then for that potential vulnerability from above, they have the fish farm netting draped over top, same as yours, Leah. And here's a more permanent or another type of structure. So again, worked with them, with this family, before they got chickens or did any construction at all, and designed the whole thing, came up with the list of materials, submitted it. They received the 50% subsidy for the overall cost of materials, and they did an excellent job of installing it. And really, they've had a lot of bear activity in and around their property this year, no issues at all. And that can be, that's another reason why a bear might be in your backyard, is it may not only be because you have chickens. It may be, like in the case of this family, is that they're on a very busy wildlife travel corridor. It's always been a busy wildlife travel corridor. And if there's bears or wolves or cougar anywhere in their general neighborhood, it cuts through their yard. So it's just a fact of that they're living on a active corridor. All right, so that is just a quick overview of some information about electric fencing and how it can work. Just trying to expand so I can see all of you again. But oh yeah, yes, I can share the PowerPoint for sure. And were there any other questions?
I was going to mention too, Kelsey and anyone else, if you're you want to come and actually see my setup, that's totally fine. I'm open to that for sure. And we can talk further about some different options or whatever. But my setup is permanent, so it's not one that you can move the coop around. It's a permanent setting, but it's certainly one that you can see how effective it is.
Yeah, well, I think that's good because we haven't built our coop yet. We just have the baby chicks, which I mean, we're gonna need the coop soon. My husband's gonna build something at least soon. So yeah, he'll probably come with me. So I was like, can I have the PowerPoint? Or like, yeah. He's trying to tell me we don't need electric fencing. And I'm like, oh my God, okay.
Yeah, you guys definitely need electric fencing in your neighborhood.
Well, I need it for my garbage and I need it for my everything.
I know.
I might put it around the whole house, the whole fence. Maybe that's what we'll do. We'll just fence the whole fence with the electric fencing.
Well, you could do that. I mean, that's going to protect your compost, your gardens, your garbage, your everything, your chickens. It is an idea.
Well, I admit it's a bit excessive.
I've set up electric net fencing around our 2 apple trees, and then I thought, oh, I'm going to move my compost containers in there as well, and so just put it inside the fence. And then the fruit gleaning team came and picked the apples. I thought, I'm just going to leave this fence up around my compost. And a week ago, got home from being away, and a bear showed up in front of our house. Actually, I was walking over towards your garden, Leah, the school garden, 7 in the evening. Beautiful looking bear. But the next morning I looked out and there's a big bear scat right beside 6 inches from my electric fence. So it obviously came into our yard, and but it certainly wasn't able to get anywhere close to our compost. So I'm glad I left it up.
Yeah.
Where our yard's one of those that it's right on an active travel corridor. If there's bears in the area, they tend to go through our yard. So
I think that really the whole coast is.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I don't know if there's anywhere on this, on the peninsula that's really safe from bears, right? Like, I feel like it's pretty.
When they're food conditioned, like what we currently have, there's certain areas that bears are going to show up every year, and they're sort of the hot spot areas because they are such active corridors. But once the bears become really determined to find those unnatural food rewards, that's when you see the dots start to scatter around town, and as they systematically search town for those things. And then you still have your hotspot areas, but then you see dots showing up in other neighborhoods that in a usual year wouldn't see that bear activity. But right now everywhere is fair game. The bears are really systematically searching town. Same thing's happening in Euclid.
Does anybody have any questions or comments, or does anybody already have their chickens set up and they're looking to add the electric fencing, or just curious about it?
I just have a
Yeah.
question about it. Just like, so is there like, because I was actually looking on the WildSafe website before, for like a garbage bin for like the bear,
Right.
what you suggested, but can we look on there for the, for the, like, do you have, or a link to like where to buy it, or how that grant works, if it's available and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I can, if you email me at packrim@wildsafebc.com, I can send you all the info. And
packrim@wildsafebc.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
And packrim is all one word. And what really helps is if I'm able to come to where you are and have a look at what you're thinking about and see it firsthand. And as you saw from the PowerPoint, there's quite a number of different ways to go about it. And it's determined by the nature of the site. Is it in the forest, or is it a lawn area? Is it undulating? Is it flat? Is it lots of soil or bare gravel? All of those things are important considerations for coming up with a design that's going to work. And then once you have a design that's worked out, then we can send all that information together with pictures to a supplier that can come back with a quote, and they'll figure out, okay, for this design, you need this many spools of wire or this length of electric netting, and they'll break it out, give you an itemized cost of all the materials and how much it'll cost. And with that quote in hand, then, and the design, then I can submit that to our head office, and they'll go, okay, yeah, this meets all the criteria for an effective installation, and we'll approve the subsidy. And the subsidy amount is 50% of the cost, up to a maximum subsidy of $500. So basically, for $1,000 installation, we could cover $500 of that. But typically, a lot of the installations locally are less than that amount. But yeah, if I can.
So is it like, so sorry, so like it could be also some supplies that make it like what is that called? The hardware cloth?
Oh, so the hardware
just for electric
cloth.
fencing?
Yeah, we just subsidize the electric fencing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's what I thought, but I wasn't sure when you were saying it like that.
Yeah.
But maybe we could just like invite you to come over and talk with us and my husband, and then just like when we have a fenced yard, and like there's might be places like that are better, and like what Leah said with like her paving on the bottom maybe, or whatever, just like how to make where you think would be best, and then how that would look too for everything. So yeah,
that's definitely the easiest.
Thank you.
And if you have any know of any friends that are in your similar situation to yourselves, just let them know I'm working till the end of November, and quite happy to meet up with anyone and go through options and just look at each particular situation.
Bob, does the, is that subsidy available like basically till November and then it starts again next year? Is that right? Or like,
That's right. Yeah.
and
yeah.
is it enough? Do you think that it's enough to support, so many chicken coops in town, or is it sort of an infinite number, or is there like a cap on it, or how does that look?
Yeah, there is a cap. So far, we're like, there's a number of people that are thinking about fencing that we haven't proceeded to the point of, they haven't proceeded to the point of getting a quote.
Right.
So potentially there's a number that those that might happen. But right now there's still considerable amount of funding left. And in the past 2 years, we just went until we expended all the funding. And I expect we may, before the end of November, we'll probably expend all the funding that's available for this year as well. And then it gets topped up again next spring.
What would your availability be for this, like for next week? Like,
pretty open.
okay, so should we just email you then, or?
Yeah, just email me. We can
Okay.
work out a time and place.
Awesome, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Bob, what other things, Leah, you mentioned already, like SAP being too close to electric fencing. What other things could potentially affect the effectiveness of the electric fence?
Like even with like the moisture is one consideration. So like during the dry period, you might have vegetation grow up and touching the wires, and it might not draw down your system voltage very much. But with this heavy rain and wet vegetation touching the wires, the same vegetation, it might actually start to have a significant effect. So yeah, having the this high humidity and lots of water could affect things.
Does water, like just on the fence itself, affect?
No,
or?
no, it's just like with the moisture, the high moisture in the air, like with that bear in the video, if that bear was standing on, say if it was standing on dry gravel, when it was hot and dry and low humidity, it would probably have to physically touch the wire to get a shock. If it was conditions like we have right now and it's standing on wet ground, the electricity will probably arc a short distance. So the bear wouldn't actually have to physically touch the wire. When he got close enough, it would actually arc across to his nose. So but water sitting on the wire, just wet wires doesn't negatively affect the system.
Okay. Do you have any extra parts kicking around, like another one of those master switches by any chance, or is that something?
I do. I do.
Okay.
Actually,
I'm thinking if it's possible to buy that off of you and we can set that up somewhere.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, it's pretty handy.
I think
Yeah,
it'll make life
I
easier.
ordered a couple just to have them on hand, just because they are handy to add in afterwards.
And then those yellow plastic like stakes that
Right.
where can I get those at like Share Care or someplace in Port, or are they
I tried and I just couldn't get them.
Okay.
Tried Victoria and Parksville and Port. So I ended up just ordering them from Margot.
Okay. I probably need a few more of those. That's the only thing I can
Yeah.
I can make do without them, but I would feel better about having a few more of them to
It's really great to have extras
Hmm.
of those. It really helps.
Just to go back to the, the things that could make your fence, not work as effectively. And
Mhm.
some of the things that I've noticed is, well, I bought myself a little weed whacker because I'm right along Industrial Way. And so I always had the weeds growing up the fence and then touching the fence, which I noticed that even if the plant grew, or like a weed grew near the wire, it would, die back because it just doesn't want to be,
Yeah.
which is great. But anyway, I do use my weed whacker and clear it. But like on a day like today, when it's stormy, I'll definitely need to go out and make sure that there's not any tree branch debris touching the wires, things like that. So it's kind of almost a daily chore that you want to just keep an eye or walk around. If you're lucky enough to have it in this place that's sort of in the middle of a lawn where you can really control it, it's a little better. But I'm a great example for people that are looking for
Mhm.
electrifying fences on the coast, because I have all different types of terrain and along a
Yes, you've got
fence,
it
this
all.
and that. I've got around trees and
Yeah.
I've got it all really. I think mine was one of those tricky ones they looked at and went, oh dear,
Yeah.
we got to do this one. And I'm so thankful for the help, because I
Mhm.
certainly would have not had known what to do. So I think, and I know
Yeah.
that you've talked, Bob, about, or maybe it was someone else that said, it'd be great if we could have someone on the coast that's basically teaches them how to install fences and maintain them. Like, it would probably be a full-time job practically with all the people that are going to get signed into the program, right? So
Yeah.
not a full-time job, but
Hopefully down the road we'll get there, get to
yeah.
that point where, it becomes such a standard practice
Mhm.
that anyone that's planning on having any kind of livestock, they know right away and build it into their plans and know that they have someone locally who can do a really effective installation.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of a hiccup for people as well. It's just feeling like insecure about, how do you set this up? Now
Mhm.
we've got it. How do we set it up, and how do we maintain it, and things like that. So the more
Yeah.
people get them, the more we can share the information, the more we can,
Mhm.
video each other's coops and learn about, the challenges, or the pros and cons, how we dealt with the challenges, and
Yeah.
things like that. So I think that I would like to see it be just common practice that we do this with our chickens on the coast. It's the only way that we're going to protect the wildlife that's here, and also to protect our chickens.
Yeah.
And if we're talking more about, having more conversations around food security and stuff, we want to keep our food safe, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
It's a food source, so we don't want to share it with the wildlife. Yeah.
I was out yesterday helping Louise install her fence around her farm out at the airport there.
Yes.
So next week we'll finish that off, and that'll be protected from be protected. Yeah, it might be fun at some point, maybe next year, to organize like your garden tour, but do an electric fence tour
Yes.
I think that's a
Just-
great idea.
Just to
Yeah.
see, because yeah, each one, it's sort of fascinating to see how you can adapt, using a variety of materials, how you can basically electric fence pretty much anything. It just might take a little head scratching, but in some cases, but it's pretty much always doable.
Right. Yeah, I think that's true. I think that, well, maybe at some point I'll actually video I do have some video actually of people's setups. So maybe I'll find some time this winter to put it all together and film a few more of them and put it together so that people have a little video.
That's a
that
good
they can
idea.
kind of
Yeah.
look at and learn. And maybe even the next installation we do, we can video as well, like just to show how this is how you install it. This is how easy it is to set it up. So, and maybe even, a video of installing sort of more of a permanent situation and also one where it's going to be movable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was asking about the movable. So it sounds like that one that it's easier to move around, right? Like where you have maybe one around like the main thing and then maybe like, so it's like, is there an option to get like two? I don't know, two, but like something around the main coop and then that movable one
Yeah.
too? Like, as I'm just thinking for our, like we have a really great yard that I'd like them to run around like in the day or whatever, sort of big grass area, but then like there would be like more like when they're back in the coop that would be smaller. So like, maybe you can't take the fence with you, can you? I'm joking. You know how they have those dog electric things that you can like take with you. So you're at someone else's house, you like set it up and then like,
Yeah,
I'm just joking. Like bring your chicken to someone's house to visit. No, and then put your electric fence.
Very doable, is to do a combination, like have your wooden structure, and then which you can mount the wires right on the wooden structure. If you design it with that in mind, it's really easy to do. And then you can add in the electric netting around your foraging area where the chickens are foraging. And so both are, that's an ideal approach.
Cool.
Yeah.
I see Rose just joined us. Rose,
Hi, Rose.
we have just went through a PowerPoint we did record it, so we'll be able to share that. And we're just chatting now about just different setups and talking about our
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you please?
Our individual setups, because some of us have permanent setups, some of us have like movable setups, and then but I've also offered, if anybody wants to come to my house, certainly to see the setup that I have, because I was saying to everybody that mine had a number of challenges that we overcame. Like round trees and up and down different terrain and stuff like that. So I'm very open to having anybody stop by and check it out and see how my setup is.
Where are you located?
I'm in Tofino. I'm actually on Ewood Road. So the sort of one of the newer neighborhoods. And I live along Industrial Way. So we put up the electric fence. I can't even remember. It's like
2019.
Yeah, 3 years ago or whatever. And how much relief I feel having the fence up now, because I don't have to worry about wandering dogs. I don't have to worry about the raccoons, the bears, whatever. So I really highly recommend people to do it if they're going to keep chickens. Just makes a huge difference.
I was
because how many coops have been how many have we got? There's been like 7 or something that have lost all their chickens this year. It's a lot.
Or most of their chickens. Yeah.
I've been so twitchy over this whole thing and then when I got my broken Energizer, I was panicking because I wanted it set up before I go away. So
Yeah, that's odd. Yeah, glad you got one. I have one on hand if that ever happens again.
Oh, that's good to know. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but yeah, in Bamfield too this year they had two people with chickens that got hit, and in one case the bear came back 2 nights and completely wiped out their flock of 20 chickens.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a devastation. That's a lot of money in chickens to lose.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
with for a full grown layer, it's at least $20-$25 a bird. So
Okay.
I think for that many birds, that's a lot of money. That's your electric fence money right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
less than your electric fence money, really.
Yeah. Yeah. And I assume that their whatever structure they had was damaged and had to be repaired as well. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Random question. Is there like insurance for bear damage? You know?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Yeah. Never heard of that, but yeah. I think that, you know, if I think, like I said, you know, I think there's something or other that came by that I heard one night get zapped, and I don't know what it was. It's something fairly large because I could hear it like crunching through the
Mhm.
industrial way. And then I heard a little sort of yelpy noise, and then scuttling off somewhere. So I know something tried to visit one time and got zapped, and you know, I really have not had any indication of anything. There's a few times in the past where I've noticed big paw prints in my yard,
Mhm.
and but never had anything breached. So I feel like it's a good way to go for sure.
They're at the market.
No, did Sydney say where she was going?
Only because the bear ripped open my fence, everything, but you put a couple let's just say it's $1,000 we put all into this bear thing, and then but hopefully if you have the fencing, it'll be all good. Electric fencing.
You're in Ocean Park, Kelsey?
Yeah.
Okay. So
But that bear, so we called conservation because a bunch of people did that on the same day, because it was literally not even scared, bluff charging, sitting on the porch, whatever. And we've been here for 5 years, and our nothing has been touched. There was a bear around, there's been bears, but they just kind of eat the berries and they're wandering around. And that's the first time our garbage has ever been, but it was it ripped open the fence once with nothing. There was nothing in there that was I guess maybe juice in a garbage can in the bottom. And then the next time it destroyed everything. It ripped open the whole garbage, and the dog didn't scare it away, nothing. And it went away, and then it came right back in our yard. It was literally within feet of me. And then and then
oh, we lost
Or
you.
you cut it, we lost you there.
the day the bear trap got left, the day they took it away, conservation, the bear's back the day after. Was sitting on the fence again looking at Josh. Tail gone. What?
And so there's is there anything at all dog food or anything in your backyard that it might be smelling?
Tofino.
Right.
We're right beside Tofino.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think that's the I don't even know, the attraction, because our garbage is now locked in we don't really have a garage, but as much as it can be, it's in in the house basically. The garbage is in the house.
Right. Yeah. Good. Yeah.
But so we're right beside Tofino, more. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the whole.
Is there any way for you to, when you put in your electric fencing, Kelsey, to wrap it around the shed, or that you usually keep your garbage in, or
I think we're just going to change it. I think where the shed, where the garbage is, to be honest, I think that might be part of the chicken coop, because it's all destroyed anyways. And then we might reassess garbage. I don't know, something different.
Yeah, because you can definitely just put your garbage within that fencing, and it's going to be fine. It'll protect it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And compost, I actually put my composters inside
Mhm.
the chicken yard too. And in fact, I leave them open for them during the day so they can scratch around and turn it for me,
Mhm.
basically,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
inoculate it with their poop.
Yeah.
And then I just cover, any food scraps that are still left, I just cover with some wood chips or straw or something. So it kind of masks the smell anyway, and it starts to break down. But and then they just scratch around in there during the day, and then I close it up at night. So
Yep.
it's again protected by the electric fence, and yeah, it's not an attractant.
That's
Yeah.
a good idea, actually. Like, because then we could just have the garbage can. Well, we get a bear-proof one anyways, but like have a bear-proof garbage can maybe. Then
Okay.
just like within the electric fence, and that's where the garbage is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
something.
we just did an installation, and the property, they had a large shed where they kept all their garbage and recycling. It was sort of like, they had a large volume of garbage and recycling there. And 2 different bears hit the shed 3 times, and basically really well constructed, but they just tore through the door. So we wrapped the whole building electric fencing, and then just using an underground insulated wire, he built a small little fence around his composters. And so he's had a bear there since, but so his compost is protected, and his shed, which sustained a fair bit of damage.
That's a good idea, because basically when the people are coming to install it, and it's like we can like assess it, and like, yeah, it's a good idea. Like it's all could maybe be installed at once, kind of thing.
Yeah. And basically for the installation is we were saying, ideally, though, there will be enough work for someone to do this, take it on as a business in our region. But the way it is right now is when you get the materials, I come and I just work with you, and we install it together.
Oh, great. Yeah.
And in the process, you'll learn, how to maintain it, and how,
Is it Jeff that comes sometimes? Is he planning a trip out at all, or?
He hasn't been out since COVID, so
Okay.
basically I've just been working with everyone and helping them install it.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, if he's coming, we should just get everybody lined up and just get them all done, because
Yeah.
he's got all the supplies and the tools and the whole bit, and he can just like bang it out so quick. Well, with your help, obviously, but
Yeah.
it was so quick, and really, really, and he's such a character too. It's entertainment.
He's highly entertaining.
He sure is.
Got almost 40 years of experience doing this kind of work, so he's got a few stories.
Yeah. Rose, did you want to say something? Or
Yeah,
ask
did you
something?
have some questions, Rose?
Yeah, sorry I'm late. I'm
No
at
worries.
work right now. But I want to watch this later. Where can I find the link to watch it again later? Because I see it's recorded.
Yes, I can send it to you if you want to send me your email in the chat.
Okay.
Okay, and then I'll send it to you. It may be posted on our website, but I'm not, or our Facebook page, but I'm not sure yet. I'll figure that out.
Okay.
But I can definitely send you I can definitely send it to you.
And then Bob, do you do the Monday to Friday job, or do you work weekends as well?
I'm pretty much Monday to Friday. On occasion, I will do things on the weekend, but
Yeah, because I am interested in doing the electrical fencing for the chicken coop.
Okay.
So that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I could even come by on an evening as well during the week, if that works for you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I get home about 5 o'clock.
Sure. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I could do that. And you have my contact info, so I'm fairly available next week.
Okay. Let me take a quick boo at what my schedule looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'd like to know where I can find the electrical fencing.
Bob, Leah, thank you so much. I have to run because I'm at work, but I
Yeah.
will be in touch soon. And yeah, I'll once I get everything fixed up, I'll let you know, and hopefully you can just pop over, and
Oh, yeah.
hopefully it'll
Yeah.
be working by then.
Okay.
So, thanks so much, you guys.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Denise.
Yeah, any more questions or comments? And